In this section, we'll learn how to make our RESTful API secure by utilizing Laravel Sanctum. Laravel Sanctum is an authentication package provided by Laravel to solve two problems: API token and SPA or single page application authentication. For API token, Laravel Sanctum stores user API tokens in a single database table and authenticating incoming HTTP requests via the authorization header, which should contain a valid API token. For SPA authentication, Sanctum does not use tokens for any kind. Instead, Sanctum uses Laravel's built-in cookie-based session authentication services. Typically, Sanctum utilizes Laravel's Web Authentication Guard to accomplish this. When Sanctum examines an incoming HTTP request, it will first check for an authentication cookie, and if none is present, Sanctum will then examine the authorization header for a valid API token. In this section, we'll be focusing on how to use Sanctum for SPA authentication, but don't worry, we'll see how to use Sanctum for API token authentication in the upcoming video. Okay, the first thing that we need to do is to install Sanctum. To do that, you can run this command php artisan install :API. We have run this command in the previous section, so we won't do that. However, if you have a fresh Laravel project and need to install Sanctum, you may run this command. Also note that if you're using Laravel before version 11, installing Sanctum may be different, so you may consult the Sanctum documentation and see how to install it. Next, let's configure which domains our SPA will be making requests from. Let's navigate to the config folder and then open up the Sanctum configuration file. So, in this stateful configuration option, you may configure the domains for your SPA. This configuration setting determines which domains will maintain stateful authentication using Laravel session cookies when making requests to your API. The domains may define in Sanctum stateful domains variable in your .env file, but if you're not define it, these domains will be used as the default stateful domains. For now, we will leave this configuration as it is, but when we have built our SPA, we may add this variable in .env file and specify our domains. Next, we need to configure the Sanctum middleware. To do that, let's navigate to the Bootstrap folder, then open this app.php. Inside the with middleware method, let's call middleware stateful API. This will instruct Laravel that incoming requests from your SPA can authenticate using Laravel session cookies. Now, since SPA or single page application that we will building with Vue.js will be separate from our API, we need to configure the CORS or cross-origin resource sharing. To do that, let's switch back over to our terminal and then publish the CORS configuration file by running this command php artisan config publish CORS. Note that this command is needed since Laravel version 11. In Laravel version 10 or 9, you don't need to run this command. Okay, once published, let's open up the CORS configuration file inside the config folder. Then, let's change the support credentials option to true. This will make our application to return access control allowed credentials header with a value of true. Finally, we need to ensure that our application session domain configuration supports any subdomain of our root domain. To do that, let's open up the .env file. Then specify our domain name in this session domain variable. In my case, localhost. If you deploy your Laravel app and have a domain for it, let's say domain.com, then you specify your domain here and prefixing it with a leading period like this. Okay, let me change it back to localhost, since my local domain for Laravel app is localhost. Okay, we have installed and configured Laravel Sanctum in our app. In the next couple of videos, we'll see how to implement Sanctum for SPA authentication.